What is up, guys? Welcome to another video, and today we have something a bit different. Today we actually have some in real life stuff. So for those who don't know, I have been learning to drive for pretty much the whole summer, maybe a bit longer, maybe a few months longer, but I've been pretty much learning throughout the summer, and I've only today literally got my full license. Now, I know a lot of my subs are from the US, all around Europe, and you know, different places, so I'll quickly explain how the UK test works. So before you even book your test, you need to do a theory test. The theory test is a little bunch of bullshit, to be honest. It's questions like, if you see a baby on the floor after a crash, how many times should you breathe in it to make it alive, and stuff like that. And then you've got the more sensible questions like, what sign is this, and all that kind of stuff. So basically you've got to complete that. There's two portions to your theory test. There's the actual questions themselves, and then there's the actual, I think it's called hazard perception. You basically click the screen when something happens, and basically you've got to get, I think it's 43 out of 50 in the actual questions itself, in the multiple choice questions, and then you've got to do really well in the hazard perception too. If you don't, you fail. And basically, until you pass that, you can't actually even book your actual test. So once you pass your theory, you can then book your test. There's usually about 3 to 4 months waiting period, but if you get cancellations, you're probably going to get one within a month. At least that was my experience with it. And that's pretty much it for the UK driving test. I'm going to talk about my experience with it in a minute. To be honest, it's a hell of a lot of hassle to get on the road, and it's expensive too. But obviously it's worth it once you finally get your license. Now I'm going to go ahead and talk about my experience with the whole UK driving thing and what I had to do. Because let's just say my journey to get my license was not a smooth one at all. So the theory test, let's start there. Essentially, it took me, I think, 2-3 tries to get my theory done. I didn't revise for it. That was a bad idea. I didn't study for it at all. And people say, oh, the theory is easy. So I went in and I was like, I'm going to ace this. Next thing you know, I got about 4 questions about dead babies on the floor. And I was like, shit, I don't know what I'm doing. What do I do to the dead baby? But you know, I passed that a while ago. I've probably like around March, April time. That was ages ago I finished that. And then obviously you kind of look towards doing your practical. And this is where things get really serious. So I had around probably like 30-ish hours in the car. More than average, I believe. Essentially, my first instructor was shit. And he was some old racist white man. And he just didn't like me. And I was like, shit, I really did a bad job here. And then I went to the second instructor, and he was absolutely great. He really helped me. You know, he was very calm, very like he was just chill, really. You know, it got to one point when we were literally going up to the test center where when I was actually going to take my test, and we were just listening to Pusha T and The Game on the aux cable thing. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, just overall really chill. If you are in the Wolverhampton Dudley certain areas, I'll leave his link in the description. Basically, if you live in the West Midlands, have a look. I genuinely recommend him. But essentially, I booked my first test, and this was quite a rocky one. So, I actually really kind of fucked up on my first test, to be honest. Looking back on it now, at the time, I thought, you know what? I could have probably got away with it, but I really couldn't. I really fucked up my first test. So in the test itself, you've got a bit of independent driving where they'll ask you to follow road signs, and then there's a bit of driving where they will tell you where to go, and you've got to do a maneuver. I think there's 4 maneuvers: reverse around a road, or reverse around a corner even, parallel park, bay park, and emergency stop. I think those are the 4 maneuvers. And I actually got parallel park, and that was my weakest one. I ended up almost clipping a car, and that basically was a straight fail. So I was like, you know what? Fucked up here, boys. Maybe next time. So I booked my second one, and that was in August. And to be honest, I'm still mad about this. I really should have passed second time. But that was bullshit. Essentially, there was a giveaway sign. I looked over, and he was like, there was like a lorry there, and I could have made it in good time. So I did. And the guy was like, you know what? You failed. It wasn't good time. You could have got us killed. And I was like, did I kill you though? Really? And the third one I passed today, I got 4 minors and nothing was wrong. I don't think throughout any of the tests I went over 4 minors, which, to put in perspective for all you like international guys, you can get 15 or 14, you can get 14 and still pass. And I got no more than 4. I think at my first test I got about like 4. My second test I got 2 or 3, and then my third test I got 4 again. So my driving was pretty goddamn good, but if you get one serious fault, you can fail, and that's what happened in the first two. I got serious faults, and that's why I failed. So now I've explained all that, we can actually talk about driving and where the future goes with driving on the channel and car vlogs and all that kind of stuff. So for those of you guys who are maybe sub to UK car channels like Theo, I know Theo does a lot of car stuff, and a few others are younger car channels mainly, you'll know that UK insurance is a bitch. I can't get anything over a 1 litre engine, basically, a 1 litre to 1.6 litre engine. I'm not going to be able to get a BRZ, an MX-5, or anything ridiculous for my first car. Realistically, it's going to be something front-wheel drive between 1 to 1.6 litres. So ideally, in a perfect world, I would love a Mini or a Polo, but I just wanted to point out what the insurance is like, because there's always going to be comments like, oh, why don't you get an MX-5 for your first car, why don't you get a BRZ? Bitch, like, to put this in perspective, to insure a Mini Cooper, it's $2.5 grand. $2.5 grand, and that's with a black box. And again, for those who don't know what a black box is, essentially a black box, it monitors your speed and how much you drive, and obviously the insurance will go up or down depending on how well or bad you drive, basically. I think Theo's got one in his Lexus, and yeah, it's a pain in the ass from what I've heard. But anyway, what's the plan from here? I'm gonna start doing car vlogs as soon as I have a car, basically. Now I actually have a license and I can actually drive around and do stuff. It's gonna make it so much easier to go to car shows. It's gonna make it so much easier to go to like maybe meetups and whatnot. Overall, it's just gonna make my life so much easier, and that obviously means more car vlogs, more car showcases at events, more vlogs at events, a whole bunch of things basically, and it just makes my life so much easier. I've said this in car vlogs before, essentially in a year to 2 years time, I would like to own a BRZ or an SW20 MR2. Basically, the MR2 is kind of the cheaper option and the BRZ is the more premium option. If I can have the money to get a BRZ in 2 years time or a year's time, I will get it without a doubt. But obviously, oh my god, yeah, I will get it without a doubt. But if I don't have that much money and I just can't do it, I will get a non-turboed MR2 and then keep that until I can get maybe an R32. Oh yes, and also, because I know I'm going to get comments about this, I can't insure an R32 till 21, so yeah, that's not going to happen for a while. But yeah, I passed my test. I am no longer a learner driver, so I thought I'd make this quick vlog just to see what the reaction's going to be like, and you know, just to get it out there because it feels good. I want to share it with you guys. It's something car related, something in real life, so I thought it'd be interesting for you guys to see. And maybe for those who don't live in the UK, it might be interesting to see how the tests work in here, because I know for the US it's a hell of a lot more relaxed. You don't have to do pretty much all of the hard stuff we have to do, and the tests are really, really strict here as well. That's another thing, is it's not just like, oh, you get in the car and you drive. You've literally got to be checking the mirrors, and you've got to be indicating, you've got to be overly cautious, and it's stupid ridiculous. A lot of the things that I did in the test itself, I'm probably not going to do when I drive. But you know, it's something which I thought I'd share with you guys, because again, it might be something cool if you are, you know, a car person and you're just into this kind of stuff. But with that being said, that is the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to go ahead and hit the like, subscribe. Car vlogs and car stuff will be on its way, and now obviously I've got the license, it's going to be making it a hell of a lot easier. But anyway, I will see you guys in the next one. You guys have an awesome, stay safe, and peace. This isn't what I meant to do. No.